All right, started my recording.
All right, so we're
Cool.
on 226. That's where we've made it to.
Yes.
Our guestus, our gesties.
Sure. Our Hestus.
R has to, the G is silent?
I don't know.
The D is silent.
Yeah, so basically they bullied Pierce into agreeing, sort of, like outmaneuvered them. By saying they weren't going to take the deal, and then Pierce called them later, and they were like, "Yeah, actually, we're going to do it."
Yeah, just Logan. Logan constantly is able to always make things work with his bullying. It just works every time, somehow. So yeah, I guess our Hestus is an international business conference. Um, So there's a lot of weird stuff in the background of this episode, but mostly focuses on how the New York Magazine found out about the cruise scandals, and they're just going to publish a huge piece about it. So like literally the morning where they're about to sign the agreement over, um, like the piece drops. And so Nan basically is like, no, we're not doing this. Like
We're a
this is
family
horrible.
company. We can't be a
Yeah,
part of these monsters.
yeah. And the CEO, Rhea, like wants the deal to happen anyway.
Yeah, because it's a boatload of cash for her.
Exactly. But then
Helen Hunt, who
yes,
is pretty
yeah,
solid in this. Her voice is incredible.
yeah, yeah. But she gets fired because Nan is like, you conspired with Logan to try to push this deal through, even though you knew that these people were evil. This is the episode where Logan just punches Roman.
Yeah.
Um, there's like a public panel where Shiv basically just says that Logan should step aside because she's trying to outmaneuver him since he's being shaky on her becoming the CEO. And that is what causes Logan to punch Roman.
Yeah, they're in that like back room or whatever, right? Discussing it.
Because she called him a dinosaur, and Roman is like, "You're a big dumb dinosaur," punched.
Yeah.
Um, which then, yeah, he just later is like, "I don't. Did I even hit contact? Nah, you didn't even hit me. Don't worry about it." Um, Next episode, Return. Logan kind of hires Rhea on as a strategist. Strategist.
It seems like there may be some sexual interest between the two, but it never like happens either.
We don't know.
It's
Thankfully,
it's never shown. There's a
yeah,
lot that
it's
happens off camera in the show. It should be mentioned. You
yeah.
mentioned that before, but there's definite like the show the writers are intentionally showing sexual tension between the two
hmm
in pretty much every scene that they're involved in.
hmm
We didn't really mention Marsha at all yet, but
No, because she's kind of a background character that basically just gets pushed out, I think, by the end of this season. It might be in the third season, but she basically like Logan's like confidants slash mistresses um are constantly trying to gain power. Um, but the children are usually able to kind of maneuver around them,
mm-hmm.
which is what happens to Marsha. And then in the fourth season, like third and fourth season, there's another one. I don't even remember her name. Um, but there's that great bit at this is jumping much further ahead, but spoiler, Logan dies. inevitably he's just old and fucked up from all the stress. But at the funeral, there's like all of his mistresses are there, so it's like Caroline, and then there's another one, and Marcia, and then the new girl, and the new girl's like actually sad, and the other women are just like, "Oh, you poor stupid fool."
Yeah.
Like we were all playing 5D chess to try to get money and power, and you were just trying to live in the moment, fucking this powerful old bull. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's really all I have to say about Marcia overall. It is implied that Marcia was also a prostitute that Logan just like acquired, and then
Hmm.
she played the role and game well enough to secure herself like money after he would be dead.
Yes.
Um,
I was looking for that woman's name, but I can't find it.
yeah,
It's not important.
um, Rhea wants to have Shiv be the CEO of PGM, which Shiv is like, what the hell? Because Rhea basically just comes in and immediately starts like pitting everyone against each other to try to gain power within the Waystar company.
Hmm.
Uh, there's some stuff where Logan intentionally like takes Kendall to like the kid that he killed's like parents' house and makes him talk to them. Um, Kendall, like, there's a really brutal scene where Kendall tries to talk to his mom. It's like late at night, and he's like, "Mom, can we have a serious conversation? I need to tell you something." And she's like, if it's, I don't want to have I just want to get a good night's sleep. Can we talk about it in the morning?" And then she's
And
just not there in the morning. She just
yeah.
left.
Hmm.
Because she's just a horrible parent. Um, the cruises stuff is basically starting to gain a lot of traction. Um,
This is when he like goes over to Greg's house in order to burn the documents, but Greg already or he didn't save them. He like Tom goes back in and he like recovers some from being burned. I believe is what happens.
Other way around. Tom is like, Greg, we need to destroy the evidence you have. And Greg's like, here it is. But then he still secretly keeps some of them.
Hmm. I thought that he like took some out of the fire. Maybe misremembering that. Anyway, that other
Greg
lady.
brings the documents to Tom as a show of good faith, but he keeps some of them.
Okay. That lady's name, by the way, is Carrie.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, Logan. This episode ends with Shiv realizing that Rhea is like trying to force her way in
Hmm.
by getting close to Logan to take over the company. Um,
Oh God, the next one is Logan's 50th anniversary at Waystar.
mhm.
And Rhea plans a surprise party, which we already have seen. He fucking hates surprise parties for him.
Yes, yes. But they basically bully Rhea into doing it and are just constantly bullying Rhea throughout the episode
Yeah,
because they
she's a
all don't
punching
want her
bag.
involved.
Yeah, so they
Um,
tell her that she should throw a huge party. Feed her more of that information. What? How is his brother's name announced or pronounced?
Ewan,
I can't.
Ewan McGregor,
I can't
you
get that
remember
into
him?
my head.
Uh, Do you know internationally famous actor Ewan McGregor?
Yeah, I've only heard it as Ewan.
It's Ewan. It's Scottish.
No,
I'll
I know. I'm not challenging the Scottish pronunciation. Like, I know that's how it's pronounced. My stupid American brain seeing Ewan.
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 Ewan. Yeah,
Uh, yeah,
this is an
he
important
comes.
moment.
he comes to Dundee, which is in Scotland. This is Dundee, Scotland, not Australia. And he basically is like, yeah, Greg, you're gonna have to stop working for Logan, otherwise you're not getting any of my inheritance.
Right, which is kind of a big reveal because the whole time Greg has been shown to just be poor. And so his attempts to like gain traction in the company are mostly seem out of necessity for the fact that he needs money.
Mm-hmm.
And so the reveal that he just is gonna get $250 million from Ewan is like, oh, this dude was always gonna have money. He's just a piece of shit. He just also wants
Yeah.
out. Like Tom, each character has a very different response to wealth. Like obviously for the main siblings, it's just something they've always had, and so for them, the money will always be there. It's more about getting the power
Yes.
and the rivalry between each other and their rivalry with their own father. But Tom and Greg represent something different, where Tom doesn't come from wealth and he just likes the lavish lifestyle. Like he is constantly going out to fancy dinners, he likes dinner parties, and he is makes Greg come along to a lot of them, and Greg starts to get an appreciation for this type of life. So I mean, it becomes abundantly clear in season 3 where it's almost a meme how quickly Greg has devolved into one of these like evil rich people who's just like dating some princess from Switzerland, and like there's a
Just
lot of funny
the
bits.
name dropping, but then
Yeah.
also like scenes of the person at night looking up at above their bed and being like, "Why am I so unhappy? I wonder why I'm so unhappy." Oh, because I traded money and power for human connection and like caring about someone. They're just like, well, I want to have like this nice place and nice car and whatever. I don't
Mhm.
need people.
Yeah. So Shiv finds out that there's a whistleblower that's just going to blow the entire cruise thing open, from Jerry. So Jerry, Frank, and Carl are characters we've barely mentioned, and they're critical to the show because they're the ones behind the scene. They're all on the board. Jerry is like the special lawyer counselor, and Carl and Tom are just like upper management board types who make a ton of decisions off screen that you're not aware of.
Yeah.
Um, and they're the ones that seem to be like the power brokers for information, just leaking shit left and right, telling other people what's happening, kind of to keep the Roys on their toes. Um, and so Jerry tells Shiv about the whistleblower thing, and this causes Shiv to make sure that Logan does name Rhea as the CEO, since Rhea will be the one that gets in trouble for the cruises shit.
Hmm.
Um, this causes Marcia to like leave in a huff, and I think this is when she just like leaves the show because it's implied Logan is having some kind of weird thing with Rhea,
Or she
which
at least
Marcia
thinks
figures
she
out.
is. Yeah.
Right, right. And then this episode ends with like Ewan just saying like fuck you, Logan, you piece of shit. There will be a reckoning one day for I think this is the part where he's like, you're literally worse than Hit, like it could be argued that you're worse than Hitler for how much damage you've done to the American psyche and to the environment.
Yeah. Ewan is a scathing man. He's great. Uh what's next? The next one is DC, right?
Yeah, so this is the one with
Oh God, Tom is called to the stand.
yeah, Tom and Greg have to go on the stand, which is amazing. You can't make a Tomlet without breaking some Gregs. Is said in the Senate meeting. And you just get that incredible Greg line when they ask him something and he's like, if it is to be, then that is how it shall be. And the Bernie Sanders guy is like, what the fuck are you saying? And he's like, I just would like, if it was possible, I want to be answering in the affirmative. And he's like, why are you talking like this? And that's part of Greg's manipulation, is always acting way dumber than he is. Kind of like that pontificator from Hamlet, Pontius or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Um,
Constantly acting dumb while like towing the like perfect balance or like the perfect line and saying things that sound silly, and you're like, is this guy smart or just an idiot? And you're like, I can never tell. And the person is also kind of confused about themselves, but they're just gonna do whatever they want to not stay relevant, but to stay in,
yes.
the game, to keep their skin in the game.
Yeah. This is also the episode where Roman goes with Carl and a guy named Laird, who's
Oh
not really in
God.
the show much.
Yeah.
They go to, I think, Turkey, and they're trying
Yes.
to like secure a bunch of private funding, so Logan can keep control of the company. I think he wants to take the company private. But while they're in Turkey, there's like some really sketchy shit that happens. Like there's like an uprising in the hotel they're in, um, and everybody's taken hostage. Um, Logan and Kendall both testify. Logan blames everything on Kendall. Um,
And
and
Kendall
Kendall
owns the libs.
yeah, he like steps up to the plate and somehow like maneuvers his way around a lot of the like it's the first time we were like, oh, this guy can be competent when he's backed into a corner.
Yeah.
Like
But
he's terrible when he
when
has to
it's not
lead.
his dad, when it's not his
Yes.
dad backing him to the corner and then like ruthlessly like beating his mug.
Hmm.
If his dad is by his side and other people are coming at him, then he's fine.
Yeah. The episode ends with Logan being like, we have to make a blood sacrifice. Logan is constantly talking about like hilarious history, references to history, and like doing blood sacrifices and like sacrificing his children,
Yeah,
which
and
is funny.
if you
There's
pause for even a second to think about it, you're like, wait, well, I don't understand how this necessitates a blood sacrifice. We need the blood. We need to get the blood.
yeah. Then there's the season 2 finale. There's that great scene where they're all around. They're like on a yacht and they're having a meal together and trying to talk about who should take the blame. And they're all like, well, probably he should. No, 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 he should. No, 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 you. And they're like, Greg should do it. And Greg's like, no, 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 I don't know anything. No, no.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Logan chooses Kendall. Because
Yes.
he's
Yeah,
not a
eventually.
killer.
Exactly. You have
Um
to be a killer.
and this is when Kendall makes the like he basically doubles down on what he did before when he
Hmm.
tried to oust his father during the board meeting, but now he goes during the press conference to basically cop to all of the crimes, but then he's just like, yeah, that's all on them. They were completely aware of it, and yeah,
Yeah,
go.
he like calls Logan a cancer. He's like, he knew about all of this shit. Like, he is the scourge behind this company and all of its cultural failings. And
Yeah.
I think it works because he brings Greg with him, and Greg still has some of the secret documents. Because
Yes.
Greg is just a situational genius, knowing when to switch sides at the right moment.
Hmm.
Um, and then yeah, the season ends with Logan just like smiling because he's like, ah, maybe my son is a killer.
Yeah, he's like, he may not be a killer, but he's not going down easily.
Hmm.
He's not just a Remora. He's at least something else.
Yeah. So I think season 2 overall is an improvement on season 1. Um,
Certainly.
the plot thickens, the character work is even more interesting. It's just as funny, if not funnier. The antagonists that they introduce in people like Rhea and PGM are interesting and quite different from the Roys, which helps highlight the Roys' inner conflicts even further.
Hmm.
We get more of an idea of who Shiv is, which is not as present in the first season. And we're starting to see the patterns of behavior that Roy siblings go through in relation to their father. Like that's the same thing with the dog, like constantly being hurt by him, going away, falling back into the fold, and then trying to bite him. Um, Roman, we haven't talked too much about Roman. Um,
He becomes more relevant after his situation in Turkey because
yeah,
he like was able to get something sorted
the
out
private funding,
through
yeah.
that deal, and also was like threatened with a near death experience, and he seems reasonably okay to everyone else, or as reasonably okay as Roman can be to everyone,
Yeah.
but he becomes like more confident eventually because of that experience.
Well, he also, yeah, it's a double-edged sword because they make the deal happen, but then Roman is like tells Logan to kill the deal because they're sketchy people. And then on top of that, he's like, "Hey, can I talk about that was really traumatic?" And he's just like, "Oh, I don't have time. We gotta go." And then I think Hugo is there, and he's like, "Don't worry, Roman's fine. We got him a psychologist and a therapist. We got him everything. He's a doctor. He's all fine."
Fucking Hugo.
Yeah, Hugo starts to show up, who's just like the ultimate yes man fool.
He doesn't look like a real person. Like
No,
his
his
head
face is
and
too big
neck,
for his neck. Yeah.
like he looks like a vulture. Like their head is massive compared to how skinny their neck is. I don't know if he had work done or something, but like something just seems wrong, or he's just an oddly proportioned human.
Yeah, I've seen him in some other TV shows, and I think he's in the new Wes Anderson movie because of his distinctive features. He was probably just selected.
Yeah, he's pretty good in this. Um, all right, so then season 3.
Mm-hmm.
When does our homie Madsen come in?
At some point this season.
I think probably like halfway through.
Yeah, he
Um,
shows up at Kendall's birthday party, I think, for the first time. It's near the end.
yeah, so season 3 starts with a similar trope of um Logan facing off against Kendall and them
Mhm.
trying to like muster the cavalry together to fight each other. Logan says he's going to temporarily step back as CEO. Um, oh yeah, this is when Kendall gets crazy with his PR people, and he's like, "Oh yeah, so like I really want to come across as like this, but like maybe we could like do this." And just his way of delivering lines cracks me up. Um,
Yeah, the first episode is mostly just like they're setting up their bases for the battle to come.
yeah.
So Logan is moving his team around. I think they leave the US because they don't want to be extradited in case something bad happens. Um, Jerry is
Oh
named the
yeah.
CEO.
And Kendall snagged Lisa Arthur,
Yeah, an attorney.
Shiv's friend, but
Hmm.
who's like a really big New York attorney.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why Jerry is then named the CEO on paper, which is a continual bit where Logan consistently is like, yeah, as if Jerry would actually be the CEO instead of just writing her name on the paper. And she's like, yeah, God forbid I ever like am competent enough to be able to do something.
Second episode here. Everybody's trying to convince Kendall to back off, and he's like, "Fuck you! I'm taking over, and I'm going to be the CEO." Um, so the other three siblings all side with Logan.
I did
Um,
not like this episode. This was just a lot of just people talking. I mean, it had to happen. I just remember not being able to watch it very easily. Greg
Yeah,
gets
not a lot happens in this one. You're right.
Greg gets Ewan's attorney. That's
Yep.
basically it. Sarajevo. Yeah.
There's some stupid stuff with Marsha because Logan was sleeping with Rhea.
Logan goes to New York. Shiv is named president of domestic operations. Which then leads into the next episode where Shiv is trying to make a speech and Rape Me by Nirvana is just like blaring over several speakers. And she has a meltdown, obviously because of it.
Yeah, because Kendall plays that.
Yes. Yes.
So in response, Shiv like publishes a letter being like Kendall's a madman and he's on drugs and he hates his children. Which just fucks him up badly. He was gonna be on like some stupid comedian talk show, but then he doesn't do it, which makes him look worse.
Yeah.
And then the FBI raids the office.
So much insanity. That was a good rundown of that episode, though.
Well, there's also like Logan has been able to talk to the president before, who he calls President Raisin.
A nice Trump name.
Yeah. But the president like isn't helping him, which starts to become relevant at some point soon in this season. Yeah, I think that the next episode, Lion in the Meadow, they start to slander the president, being like his brain's not working. Just because he won't help them break the law.
Yeah.
Tom is getting really stressed out because he thinks he's going to go to jail. Greg,
yeah, and Shiv doesn't really care.
No, she's like, fuck you, you should probably go to jail. Because Shiv is like the only one that kind of has morals at times. Like she's willing to sacrifice them if she can be the CEO or whatever, but she is like pretty upset about the fact that the company just covered up tons of sexual abuse and maybe murder.
Yes. Oh yeah, and this is the one where what's his name is in the show? The guy that plays Josh Aronson. The pianist.
Oh yeah, Adrian Brody is just
Adrian Brody. Yeah. He's just like a very wealthy investor. And they walk around his island, and then Logan is struggling from exhaustion.
Right, because Josh put him through a lot physically, and Kendall can't agree with Logan on what to do. So then Josh meets with Stewie because Josh is like, yeah, the Roys cannot run this company. They're idiots.
And both weak.
Yes.
For the audience, there are so many different votes and different companies. I know I've said this before, but like this next episode, Retired Janitors of Idaho, there's like, oh God, how do I break this down? There's gonna be a vote, but they don't want them to vote, and then they try to change it into a different thing because of that.
Yeah, it's an annual shareholder meeting, and the Roys realize that a lot of the rest of the board is just going to force them out. And Logan has a UTI, which makes him irrational and in pain and unable to do anything.
And everyone is turning to him to like call the shots, but then they realized that when he made the call, he was an insane person.
Yeah. Ewan donates all of Greg's inheritance to Greenpeace. which launches Greg into a new phase of his life, which is suing Greenpeace. Greenpeace is just like a large multinational like campaign network that's supposed to be environmental activist, and Greg hates them, which makes sense given that he works for ATN. The President Raisin, decides not to run again because ATN is too mean to him, which scares the Roys because they realize they won't have, a president behind them helping them get away with crimes.
Mm-hmm.
Kendall testifies to the DOJ, but he doesn't do it well because he's always bad when he's ahead. He's
Yeah.
only strong when he's behind. It turns out that the papers Greg brought with him are not sufficient
Mm-hmm.
to actually help him like sue Waystar. Kendall fires his attorney. This is the one where there's like the big Republican super PAC. Future Freedom Summit is what they call it, to basically select who the next conservative will be for president.
Kingmakers.
Yes, and so they're all arguing about who it should be. Yeah, there's some good stuff in here because basically they kind of agree. Roman wants to pick this guy Mencken, who's just like literally a fascist.
Yes.
But it'll boost ATN's ratings, and Shiv is like, we can't pick a Hitler racist. We can't do that. And it just at some point, Connor is like, I should run, and Greg is in the room, and he's like, I just think, as an American, I should say that Connor shouldn't be president. And they're just like, get the fuck out of here, Greg. Get out of here. And then Logan is just like, all right, we'll pick Mencken.
Yeah.
Kendall tries to get Tom on his side, which
But
leads to a
Tom
great
is
back
like,
and forth where Tom's like, I've never seen your dad lose, so fuck you, I'm going with him.
yeah, exactly. All right, so number 7 is when Gojo and Matson show up.
Yes. Tom is revealed to not be going to prison because the Department of Justice investigation is failing, and they can just settle with the government. Logan is trying to acquire Gojo. But Matson is playing some weird games. Matson is played by
Alexander Skarsgård.
Yeah, Alexander.
A hilarious and great actor.
Yeah. Oh,
like
yeah,
his IMDb picture is him wearing like a really nice shirt, and then he's just in undies, like on the red carpet. Literal Tarzan, who he played in the movie. Yeah, Kendall has a 40th birthday party. And Matson is there.
Mm-hmm.
Matson is pretty high on things. And
Right.
it's clear that Matson also is kind of Elon Musk. Like he's musking his way around social media and Twitter like constantly because he loves trolling CEOs as well as other people.
Yeah.
But he's also very shrewd and very smart, obviously.
Yeah. Logan doesn't come to the birthday, but sends Roman in his stead to offer Kendall a birthday present of a buyout of all of his shares, which would be worth $2 billion.
Yeah.
Kendall tries to convince Matson that they could buy him out, but that he wouldn't have to deal with Logan. He could deal with Kendall.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kendall kind of just has like a breakdown because you can tell that he wants his father's love, not his father's money. And then he can't find a present from his kids. So he's just like freaked out.
Yeah, and he's pretty messed up, and it's Roman that like trips him, doesn't he?
Yeah, Roman says shit to him that like causes him to spiral out.
No, but he like falls on the ground as well, like in front of everyone or in front of a bunch of people. And
He
then
might get
it's
pushed or tripped. Yeah, I don't remember what. They're in like a treehouse thing.
yeah, he's on his way out from leaving. I'm pretty sure that Roman trips him. Chianti Shire is the next one. This is their mother's wedding to what's the guy's name? Peter
Some
Munyon.
What blanket? Yeah.
Peter Munyon. Oh God. Kendall has a sit down dinner with Logan. And then basically, yeah, he's like, yeah, I'll do the $2 billion buyout. And Logan's like, nah, that offer's off the table now.
Yep.
Classic Logan.
Yeah, there's a lot that happens in this episode. Shiv's mom tells her not to have kids because kids suck, and Shiv is like, fuck you, I'm gonna have kids. So she asks Tom to have kids.
Yeah.
And then says, I don't love you right before they have sex. And then Tom's like, why did you say that? She's like, it was foreplay. You're
Yeah.
just joking around, right?
Meanwhile, they're in Tuscany, so like it's just insane because the
Mhm.
places that they're at are in direct discongruence with like how everyone is doing. Like they're in this like incredible spot. Their mom is getting married to this, as you said, wet blanket, and then these two people who are supposed to be in love, who are married, can't hack it in despite them trying. So like the whole atmosphere is always like pretty beautiful, like it's always amazing. And then
Yeah.
everyone's relationship is just a sham with
It should
with everyone around them and themselves. They
it
can't
should be
figure it
noted
out.
that it seems like Tom and Shiv do love each other, but never at the same time. So their
Yes.
relationship is like totally in flux, where both of them are trying to, like, both of their attempts to gain power stop them from being able to appreciate the other while the other's making power moves. And they never work jointly.
Yeah, it's clear that Tom is an emotional person. That's made clear several times,
By
but
him attacking Greg and also being sad over Shiv's infidelity.
yeah, and at some point he definitely just like breaks off his emotion from Shiv. Like
Yeah.
he like essentially gets away from that for the most part, I would say. Like he puts it in a box and buries it somewhere deep. Um this is when does Roman go with Logan? Yeah, they go to Madsen, right? To
Yeah,
try to discuss an
Matson
acquisition.
Yeah, Matson pulls a Musk and like tweets that his company is going to be bought out, which makes the price go up. And so instead of being acquired by Waystar, he wants to join them as one big company. Um, and basically they come to an agreement, but at the meeting, Roman is trying to send dick pics to Jerry, but sends it to his dad instead, which immediately ends the meeting because then Logan is like, "What the fuck? What are you doing?"
Yeah.
Kendall gets drunk and almost drowns, but is saved by Greg.
Oh, yeah.
Um, Gojo then becomes bigger than Waystar. Um,
Which
and
is
so,
absolutely crazy.
yeah. And so Matson is then like, how about I just buy your whole company and I'll be the CEO? Roman comes back, tells Shiv and Kendall what's happening, and then they team up.
Yeah, no wedding or anything between two people can just be that. There's always all these deals and stabbing in the back.
Yeah. So then
Oh yeah, and
they team up.
they remember about the divorce settlement. The kids had veto power over changing
Yeah.
the company control.
Yeah. And Kendall reveals to them that he killed the waiter.
Yeah.
Um yeah, so then Shiv lets Tom know what they're about to do, and
Hmm.
Tom like implies to Greg that he's about to get a big promotion. Um And then when they finally go in together for the first time to finally face off against Logan, Logan is like, fuck you guys, I renegotiated my entire divorce with Caroline. You don't get the veto power anymore.
And then they call Caroline and she's like, "Yeah, no, like I can't really talk about this right now.
Yeah, she's
No."
like, I don't care. Like, you guys didn't want to have Christmas with me or whatever, so fuck you.
Meanwhile, it's like the night of her wedding.
Yep. And then there's even that great moment where Roman is like, Jerry, come on. What the hell, Jerry? And Jerry's like, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, the money's right here. Like, I'm not on your team. I told you I wouldn't be on your team if money got in the way. So this is on you, buddy.
Yeah, and Tom is the one that tipped off Logan.
Yeah, the door opens up and we see Tom lurking about, having played the game perfectly.
Mm-hmm. Dear,
Yeah.
dear God, I didn't realize episode 1 of season 4 was called The Munsters.
You don't remember the part where Logan says, monsters, meet the fucking monsters.
No.
Yeah,
No.
it's Logan's birthday again, and he's really pissed that everybody's there for his birthday. He's just like grumbling like fucking monsters, fucking no good people smiling to my face.
Oh, yeah. Now I remember that when he's grumbling about people in his face.
Yeah, so then it's revealed that the siblings are still working together, and Tom is now finally in Logan's inner circle.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Logan is once again trying to buy PGM. So then the siblings instead go and outbid him, they like offer a ridiculous sum of money, like $10 billion. Um, and they beat him. Uh, Shiv and Tom are getting a divorce.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff with that because obviously Shiv feels betrayed. Um,
Also, we didn't really talk about season 3 on the whole.
oh yeah, we can do that now. I think 3 is slower than 2, takes some time to build up, but I think
Once Madsen comes into the picture.
yeah. Like, I'm not a huge fan of the birthday episode. I feel like what that shows us about Kendall and his relationship to both Roman and his dad is something that had already been gone over repeatedly.
Yeah, they're bashing us over the head.
And so it's just another part of like this stuff is all cyclical for these people. Um,
It
and that
does continually reinforce the idea that he like doesn't know who he is or how to have happiness, so he tries to like continually make bigger and bigger things to show everyone how happy he is and how
yes,
cool he is. Because he
yeah,
wants to do that like absolutely ridiculous thing where he crucifies himself and he's like,
yes,
but like is it too much though? Like I won't do it if it's too much. Like I just want it to be cool and everyone have a good time. You're like,
exactly.
bro, maybe don't crucify yourself.
Yeah, this season also sets up all the final plots. Um,
Hmm.
it sets up Matson, which becomes the final enemy for the Royce to face off against. It sets up Mencken as the political candidate, which will become increasingly relevant as the season goes on.
I don't
Uh,
want to sound insensitive here, but Mencken, isn't Mencken traditionally like a Jewish name?
It
Maybe,
is in Mad Men. There's
maybe
The Mencken's like retail grocery stores.
because this guy is like a Nazi. That's only what that's why I mention it.
It could be. I mean, his first name is Jared, Jeryd. Jared Macon.
All right, so he's like a hillbilly or something.
Yeah, and he's played by that guy from Weeds.
Yes, a great casting right there.
Um, but yeah, I don't know if I like season three more than two. Like on the whole, it's still going over a lot of the same types of trauma. Um,
I probably prefer two, honestly.
it's an episode shorter. It's the shortest season for whatever reason. It's only 9 episodes instead of 10, whereas all the other ones are 10.
Yeah, they probably just couldn't figure out how to make it work. Like it would
Yeah,
have just been more filler. Honestly,
probably.
it's a bit bloated as it is.
Yeah, exactly. Which is weird because the ending stuff with Matson, like going back and forth, feels rushed. Like it kind of comes out of no. Matson just appears out of nowhere,
Yes,
and then his company just balloons bigger than Waystar, and
it's
then
very rushed because you're like, wait, I thought this guy was just like into streaming and like understood programming and shit, and now he's just like a huge player. What the fuck?
mhm. But then this is all addressed in season four. I honestly, when I saw it, I wasn't sure about season four, like how it fit with the rest. I think now season four is by far my favorite, and I think it
Yes,
has all the best episodes of the show.
absolutely.
Um,
I could not agree more.
like the first episode is probably the weakest one, even just because it like the dynamic of the siblings versus their dad, where they like outbid him on some useless shit. Um,
Yeah,
doesn't impact anything else that's going on that we get into very quickly.
it's just the same thing, just different faces. But yeah, they get to lay claim to, oh, we beat Daddy. We got him, even though they
Hmm.
didn't really beat him because they just spent a bunch of money to acquire a news organization or a media company, rather.
Yeah. Season two, then there's a lot of like back and forth shit. It's the same shit again and again. Um, Logan wants to keep ATN as his own thing and sell the rest of Waystar to Gojo. And he goes to the ATN newsroom and gives that incredible speech where he's like, "We're not done yet. We're just getting started, motherfuckers. Let's do this." And it's like, oh God, he is not done yet. He is
Yeah.
going to get a Nazi elected as president.
Yes, exactly. Because the election is also turning up uh during this season, which adds another layer of wildness to it. Because then it brings like into picture for everyone the fact that all of what their company is doing has humongous ramifications on not only the general public but like international decision making.
Hmm. So yeah, then like they're negotiating over price. Matson calls Kendall privately and is like manipulating him, saying, "I won't do it if you guys fuck with me on the price." Stewie and Sandy are trying to like block the Gojo sale because they don't like the price. They think it's too high. So the walls are definitely like closing in on the kids as it seems like everyone else has solidified their position. Um, Rogan gets Roman gets a sense of this and goes to Logan because he doesn't like that they're just making decisions based off spite. And Logan offers for him to be the head of ATN.
Yeah, which obviously Roman loves because he's like, oh, finally, my father approves of what I'm doing.
Exactly.
He sees that I'm becoming who I was destined to be. And then also that launches him into I don't let's not jump ahead.
Yeah, so then we get Connor's wedding.
Oh God. Emotional misery is what this episode is. Everything to do with Connor and Willa is a big brain hurt.
Well, yeah, because he just purchased this woman.
Yes.
So yeah, she's like obviously doesn't really want to get married.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say like this episode was bad. I more so just meant like if you stop and think about their situation, then
Oh yeah.
it's crazy. But this episode is one of the best episodes of the show, without a doubt. Logan goes to Sweden, right? With Tom.
Yeah, with his inner circle minus Jerry and Hugo.
Mm-hmm.
And both of them quickly realize at the wedding that something's wrong. Especially because Logan tells Roman to fire Jerry, and Roman's weird about it because Roman thinks Jerry is his mom.
Yeah.
Which makes Jerry start to make a bunch of moves because she knows something is up, and she has way too much like political capital within the company to just be axed.
Yeah.
Then they get a call from Tom on the plane that is like, "Hey, yeah, maybe we don't know. Maybe Logan is maybe dead or maybe dying." And then like they won't answer the kids' questions about whether or not he's dead because it's just Frank, Carl, and Tom who are the ultimate like go in a circle without accomplishing anything guys.
Yeah.
And so it's just this really brutal long scene where like they keep putting the phone up to at this point a clearly dead Logan's ears so that the kids can like say the last words, but Shiv isn't in the room at the time, and then Shiv comes back and it gets even more chaotic. Roman like refuses to believe that he's dead, just won't accept the reality of the death
Because it hasn't been confirmed and he hasn't seen it with his own eyes. And
right.
like it's clear that his father has died, but there is that shred of hope. But also Tom just can't be a straight shooter.
Yeah. And the other two are smart enough. It's not even that they can't be. It seems that they're all smart enough to know that just telling any of the kids that they're dead would mean they would be in trouble. Like that's ultimately Carl and Frank's greatest strength is never delivering news head on to any of the Roys.
I see what you're saying.
Because they know that they're volatile people, so they dance around things, and Tom has become a master of this.
Yeah.
That's why at the end of the show there's a great back and forth or between Frank and Carl where Carl's like we should have smothered him in the womb, referring to Tom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Tom I mean, as we should have known by the end of season 3, Tom knows how to play this game and outmaneuver the Roys. And so, yeah.
Sorry, don't even mean to derail what you were saying.
Yeah, I got distracting texts and but yeah, basically without Logan here now, it should be clear to the audience that between the other people fighting for the power of the company and Matson, the Roy children are in a lot of trouble.
It's also there's a lot of good stuff about this episode in particular, going along with the unreliable narrator as well. You also can't really believe that he's dead. You're like, no. Like he's not moving now, but they'll be able to save him in some way or another. But then it's also left up into question whether or not Tom had something to do with his death because he was the one that discovered him. And he was what, like face down in the bathroom or something?
Trying to fish his iPhone out of the bathroom toilet.
Yeah, that's right. Which he then makes a joke about later.
Yeah, there's definitely an implication that Tom maybe could have saved him somehow. Like there was time.
Yeah, not that he murdered him, but he could have Walter Whited the girl on heroin.
Right. Yeah, then the next episode turns out Shiv is pregnant.
Oh God. Yeah, there's a brutal bunch of scenes because Shiv is pregnant involving Tom.
Yes. Hugo comes up and tells Kendall that he was involved maybe in some light insider trading. And so I think this is where he says that incredible line of like, "Are you ready to be my bitch?" I forget what the line is. He's like, "Listen, Hugo, if you stay with me, I'll give you scraps, but you just have to know that you're a dog." And Hugo just goes like, "Woof woof."
Yeah, that's at the very end of the episode, like at the end of the funeral. Wait, that's not in this episode though.
Honeymoon States.
Is
Yeah,
the
it is.
funeral in this one?
Yeah.
Oh, somehow I thought the funeral happened later.
There's at least the wake.
Yeah. Anyway, the Hugo was clearly making calls during everything being up in the air, literally, about
Yeah.
Logan dying. Like he kept coming in and out of the boat that they were on and being like, "Yeah, I gotta go make a call. Don't worry, I'll be right back to help you guys out."
Yeah, and then Frank mysteriously finds a document in Logan's safe without a date on it, which names Kendall as the CEO or the planned successor.
But it may or may not be underlined slash his name crossed out from it.
Yeah, it's very suspicious, and it definitely points to the idea that Frank something's up with Frank. It's also implied that maybe Tom had Greg put that document there because Tom has Greg do weird shit in the previous episode with like stealing more documents because that's Greg's specialty is just sneaking into places and obtaining pertinent documents.
A 6'8" slender man somehow able to sneak in. A bumbling 6'8" slender man.
Yeah. So then, because of like the company's actual like formal legal succession plan, the COO is supposed to become the CEO, which is Roman. So Kendall and Roman decide that they can co-run the company as CEOs, which pisses Shiv off because she's like, "What the fuck? I thought we were in this together." And they're like, "No, no, no, trust me, you'll be in on it. You'll be involved in every decision."
Yeah, and then they're like, well, 2 would work, but 3 wouldn't. 3's too many. Can't have co-CEOs. And then Hugo and Carolina are like, yeah, we could like kind of just say that Logan wasn't really like his head wasn't on straight. And Roman's like, no, we're not doing that. But then later on Kendall tells Hugo like, yeah, we're gonna do that. That's fine.
Yeah. Oh, I guess the actual funeral is like the penultimate episode.
Correct.
Okay.
That was why
Yeah, it's just
I
the
was
wake.
wondering about that.
Yeah, so now Kendall and Roman are fully in charge of the company. They go to Norway to meet with Matsson. Matsson, they're like constantly negotiating the specifics of it. Um, Matsson like comes on to Shiv by telling her about like him sending bricks of his frozen blood to his COO.
Yes.
So he's or his head of PR.
He's asking her for advice, but also being like, "Hey, let's get it on." And Roman gets pissed at Matsson. because basically he insisted that they come despite their dad just dying. And is like, we'll never make a deal with you ever.
Right, and then he just goes around them and goes straight to the board
Mm-hmm.
with a crazy good deal. Which I think would result in most people being fired.
Yeah, except Jerry, Carolina, and Tom.
Yeah.
But Carl and Hugo, I don't think really care because of the money. They're
Right,
like
yeah.
really
Carl
excited.
just wants to get paid and get out.
Carl, Frank, and Hugo are like, we'll be rich beyond our wildest dreams. Let's go. Like I remember them toasting like champagne.
Yeah. Yeah. Living Plus is the next episode.
Oh
They
God.
pitch some stupid idea called Living Plus, which is like
Isn't this
some
just the
luxury.
Disney?
It's like a luxury retirement community.
I'm pretty sure that Disney did this.
Probably.
Or something like it, basically. And Madsen tweets out something like during the thing. Like the launch goes well, and then Madsen, I forget exactly what he said, but it was something that was like, oh, wasn't it Living Plus, but it was a swastika or something?
Yeah, that sounds right.
But then he deletes it because Shiv in the background is like messaging him or calling him and is like, hey, don't do that. Maybe we can bone later. Don't
But
do
then
that.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's another situation where Kendall's backed in a corner and just succeeds. Like, he should fail because the product is bad, but he just does it well.
Yes.
This episode is like the last one that's kind of like hit or miss, just retreading some old ground.
Yeah.
Yeah,
from here on out.
Roman fires like the head of the film production company, and Jerry's like, "You can't do that, you idiot!" So he just fires Jerry. Just two colossally bad mistakes.
Yes. From here on out, also it feels like it feels like a documentary almost. Like the show does feel that way, but the ramifications of it feel very real. Is the best way I can explain it. Like with the presidential election and everything, like it's very realistic.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how realistic the behind the scenes of the media, like in the media rooms of them calling the elections and everything, but the reporting of the American public and like the different like spins that they put on everything. Oh yeah, Elliot from Breaking Bad is in this.
Elliot from Breaking Bad?
Yeah,
the journalist lady?
No. Elliot is the guy who's involved. He's Walter's partner. In like Gray Matter. That's what it's called.
Oh, right. He's one of the people at ATN.
Yes.
His wife in Breaking Bad is also in the show. She's the journalist that keeps getting people in trouble in like season 2.
Yeah.
The one that Connor has to deliver the stupid speech or else he'll be in trouble.
She meets with Greg and Greg is like, well, this is off the record, right? And she's like, yeah, what? Yeah, it's off the record. He's like, is it off the record or is it off the record? She's like, I don't know if we can have a conversation.
Yeah, so this episode it's the night before the presidential election, and there's like a lot of political insiders at Shiv and Tom's place. Kendall and Roman are trying to like build a legal case against Gojo so that Gojo can't buy them out. But Shiv wants them to buy them out, so she invites Mattson to the party. The siblings find out, I think, through his head of PR, the lady who gets the bricks of blood, that their like subscriber numbers are like all bots. Like it's the whole company's built on a lie. Like
Yes,
there's not actually anything.
they're out on the veranda, and she's out there, and they smoke a cigarette, and she's like, "Oh yeah, that's just faked from numbers in India." And then Shiv tries to talk to him about it, and he's like, "Yeah, they're like a little bit inflated." She's like, "But
Yeah.
how much? Like, this seems like a problem."
Roman tries to get Connor to stop running for president, which has been happening for the last 2 seasons, by the way. And it's like, there's like a great scene where he goes up to his dad, to Logan, and Connor's like, "Hey, Dad, can I hit you for a quick 100 mil?"
Yeah.
And there's like some bits about how like $500 million gets you like 1% of the vote.
Yes. And Willa's like, "No, that's fine. Like, is that what you want to do? Will that make you happy?" And he's like, "Yeah, 1%. That's it."
Yeah, Kendall, or not Kendall, Tom and Shiv have a really bad argument.
It's brutal.
And Kendall tells Frank that Waystar should buy Gojo and that Kendall should become the only CEO. So Kendall is back to his bloodthirsty ways.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely need to rush now. Time is no longer on my side. We could pause here and just finish the show.
Yes. Let's do that.
Okay. And we'll pause here.